Greetings. My name is Brother Scott, and I believe that with faith, courage, and discipline, we will prevail. All right, so for today's video, we're going to talk about actually pursuing your calling. Our last two videos, we talked about finding your calling, and then we talked about building a roadmap to pursue your calling. Now we're going to tie all that in and actually go ahead and pursue that calling. And if just in case you forgot, a calling is a lifelong mission that you're passionate about that provides value to others. All right, let's go. Okay, so pursuing your calling. So first thing we're going to talk about is you have to gain experience. Learning a new skill is always difficult in the beginning. Skills become easier with practice and deliberate study. So with this, as far as gaining experience, I think a good example is when you get a video game, right? When you get a video game for the first time, this is a IP that you're not used to or you've never played, you understand? Let's say Super Mario. Let's say for whatever reason you've never played Super Mario, okay? Well, the first thing you do, or at least what you should do, is you should go in the tutorial mode. And so you learn how to jump, you learn how to spin, you learn how to pick up objects, you learn how to climb on the walls, and it's going to feel awkward knowing which button does what and which whatever does whatever because you're new to the game. So you're not going to really know what to do when you start that first level. The level will be easy enough so that way you don't just automatically fail over and over and over again. They try to ease you into the game by giving you simple tasks, simple goals, and simple objectives, right? And then what usually happens over time is after about a month, 2 months, 3 months playing that video game, whatever it is, now you're ready to do speed runs in the game. And for those of you that don't play video games, a speed run is basically just trying to beat the game as fast as you can. And you compete with other people to see how fast they beat the game relative to what you did, right? So you can't speed run a game as soon as you open it out the box or as soon as you download it. It's going to be difficult in the beginning. And the same thing goes with your calling, whatever it may be. Maybe you like to take pictures and you want to be a photographer. Maybe you like to play video games and you want to be a streamer and you're not very good at public speaking or speaking to an audience. You might not be that good at it initially, you understand? So these skills become easier with practice and deliberate study, you understand? This goes back to our core value of discipline, all right? Next point. Be humble and receptive. Approach every skill that you need to learn like a novice. Don't try to skip any steps. Master the fundamentals. All right? So a good example is basketball, okay? So if you know how to dunk, like you can get up and dunk that bitch into the rim, boom. But you don't know how to pass the ball, you don't know how to dribble the ball, you don't know how to play defense. Well, how good of a basketball player are you? Sure, you can dunk, you can windmill 360 dunk, but you can't pass the damn ball, you can't dribble, you can't play defense, you can't do those fundamentals. You're probably not going to be a great asset to your team if the only thing you can do is just dunk. You understand? And this is why even as it pertains to pursuing your calling, you don't want to skip over those fundamentals. You understand? Now, we talked about gaining experience. Next thing, make mistakes. While you're pursuing your calling, you're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. It's okay to make mistakes if you learn from them, okay? Don't beat yourself up over them. Making mistakes is literally a part of the human experience, right? When you see a little baby and they're trying to get up and walk for the first time and they're trying to coordinate their legs to move one over the other one so that way they can get to point A to point B, well, guess what? Oftentimes, that baby's gonna fall. He's gonna fall forwards, backwards, to the side. He's gonna hit his head on the dining table, things of that nature. But what happens? Eventually, that baby starts walking. You understand? So it's a part of the human experience, making mistakes. All right, and struggling. Successful people are the ones who didn't quit. Stay in the fight. Have faith in yourself. There we go again with one of our core values, faith. Faith, remember, what is faith? Faith is the belief that with diligence and dedication, we can achieve our goals. Remember that, right? So yeah, you're going to need faith, and as you make mistakes, don't quit. Like, it's just like when I was a drill instructor on Parris Island, South Carolina, and I was training Marine Corps recruits, one of the first things that we tell them before they start training, we tell them never quit or give up. Because we know it's not going to be the easiest thing. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a cakewalk if you want to become a United States Marine. So we tell them from the get-go, never quit or give up. All right? And then even the greats make mistakes every now and then. Even the greats, even the people, let's go back to sports. So Tom Brady, right? So arguably Tom Brady is we'll say one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in the NFL. But guess what? Tom Brady has thrown interceptions before. You understand? Sometimes, he threw pick six. Tom Brady has fumbled the ball before. But that doesn't take away from his greatness. You understand? Michael Jordan has missed free throws. You understand? So making mistakes is, as long as you learn from them, it's okay to make mistakes. You understand? Even the greats make mistakes. Some of the most wealthiest people that are alive today have went bankrupt once or twice or a couple of times. We understand? Now, the third part of pursuing your calling, you need to achieve mastery. Achieve mastery. Now, it takes time. It's going to take time to achieve mastery. If it's something worthwhile, if you're pursuing your calling and it's something worthwhile, it's not going to happen overnight. Okay? Find a mentor. Your mentor should be someone who has mastered the skill set you need for your calling. They can be a real life mentor or someone with a significant amount of documented work, like a historical figure or a well-accomplished person. Okay? So for example, let's go back to the music example that I've used before. All right, let's say you're a pretty good guitarist, but you're not, you haven't mastered that skill set, right? And let's say you're a part of a band, you're a lead guitarist, you sound pretty good, but you can get to a point where you're even better. You understand? You can go and reach out to people that reach out to people that you're acquainted with who are better than you, and they can give you pointers, give you tips on how to achieve that mastery. You understand? If, let's say you go to church on Sunday and there's a guitarist who can play like crazy. Go up to them, ask them, hey, I have a band that I started, and we sound pretty good, but I want to master the skill of playing the guitar. I don't sound bad at all, but I don't sound anything like you. Could you give me some pointers? Could you give me some tips? Maybe they take you under their wing. You understand? Maybe you stay a little bit after church and you go over some certain things that you need improvement on. You understand? And then also, like I said before, it doesn't. If you can't get a real life person, you can find a historical figure who has a significant body of work, who has maybe written books. They've done interviews, and you can learn just from looking at that person's life and looking at their work. Let's use the guitar example again. All right, so someone who has recently passed away is Prince, or the artist formerly known as Prince. And he was a pretty good guitar player. He could play pretty much all the instruments, every instrument he could play, right? But he was a pretty good guitar player. So he has enough work. He has a big enough body of work, and he's done a lot of interviews. There's biographies. I don't know if he has an autobiography, but there are biographies out there, and you can kind of get into the mindset of Prince. Watching interviews of his friends talk about him, talking about his work ethic, talked about how he went about, playing his guitar, among other things, right? And then you can learn, you can that can help you achieve mastery. You understand? Even though he's not physically here with us, among the living. You understand? So yeah, like I said before, a real life mentor is ideal. However, you might not be able to find someone that's willing to mentor you without like some money or some compensation. Okay, be willing to be an apprentice for little or no pay. All right, so let me break that down. So you may be able to find someone who has achieved mastery in the skill set you want. Let's say a photographer, okay? Let's say you're a pretty good photographer, you have a body of work, but you know someone who's a lot better and more well-established than you, okay? Let's say he decides, you go up to him, you ask him for advice. Let's say he decides, you know what, hey, look, I don't want to take on any proteges per se. I can't give you any money, but you can come along with me when I do my next photo shoot or my next couple of photo shoots. All right? That's fine. That's fine. Because guess what? Even though you're not getting any money or compensation, you can see how that person interacts with the customer. You can see how they set up their equipment. You can see when it's time to edit, how they change the settings and put the settings in such a way so they can get a picture that is the desire of the client. You understand? Even though you're not getting paid, you can still benefit and obtain value from that, and that can help you all along your way to mastery. You understand? So yeah, next point. The skills required for your calling should become second nature. You should be able to execute them effortlessly. All right, so what do I mean by that? A good example. Oh, this is a good example. So for those of you that know how to, or those of you that have a vehicle or have driven a vehicle, we can all remember the first couple of times we ever sat in that driver's seat and we tried to make that bitch move. And it can get, for some of us, it can be a little nerve-wracking, especially when you get on like the highway or the interstate and you're new to driving this metal contraption called the vehicle. You're uptight. You know what I'm saying? You squeezing the handle like you're trying to squeeze the life out of it. And after the first couple of times, over time, once you get used to driving, well, it becomes second nature. And so when you get in your car and you go to the store, you go out of town or whatever, you don't even think about the controls in the vehicle. You don't think about the steering wheel. You don't think about the brakes. You don't think about those things because driving has now become second nature. You understand? So whatever your skill you need, whatever the skills that you need to pursue your calling, it should be just like that phenomenon where you do it so much, you do it so often, you've perfected it so well that you don't even really have to think. It's not something you have to process in your mind. It just happens. We understand. Okay? And then, the last point. Now, you can have multiple callings. You can have multiple callings. It's okay to move on to a new calling once you have mastered your first one or your second one. All right? So I'll give you an example. So we all know the comedian Kevin Hart, right? So Kevin Hart started out doing stand-up comedy, right? Kevin Hart doesn't really do stand-up comedy anymore. Kevin Hart has mastered the stand-up comedian. He has mastered that aspect of his life, and he has moved on to now. He's an actor. He is an A-list actor. You understand? And so he can go back if he wants to. He can go do a special, a Netflix special or HBO special or whatever the case may be. He can go back and do that if he wants to. Or he can stay to what he's doing right now and continue to be an actor. You understand? So he's not stuck into one specific calling. You understand? And he's doing a bunch of other new things as well, actually, because if you notice, he's starting to basically move into the streaming realm. You see him popping up on people's streams and whatnot. So who knows? Maybe one day he decides he wants to be a full-time streamer. Okay? So you can do the same thing. So maybe whatever, so let's say your calling is, let's just go back to video games because that's the easiest one. All right, so let's say you're a streamer and you have, I don't know, 100,000 subscribers and you're doing well and it's pulling in money and you have a big following and you know how to speak in front of a camera, this, that, and the other. And then you decide, okay, I pretty much mastered streaming. I love this. I enjoy doing this, but there's another thing. There's something else that I also would like to pursue. That's fine. That is A-okay. Because the value that you're providing to those the people that watch you, the people that you subscribe, you can take the same type of value and provide it in another aspect, in another a calling that you decide to pursue. You understand? So you can have multiple callings. All right. So that's it. That's it as it pertains to pursuing your calling. Okay? The first video, we talked about finding your calling. The second video, we talked about building a roadmap to pursue your calling. And then this last video is actually pursuing your calling. Boom. So now what we're going to do is, now that this will be a playlist. So now that this playlist is complete for pursuing your calling, our next video, we're going to move on to building our dynasty. Because remember, your purpose in life now, as an underdog, is to pursue your calling and to build your dynasty. You understand? So, if you haven't already, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and donate. And always remember, with faith, courage, and discipline, we will prevail.